All right, it's time for the coffee Q&A. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the coffee Q&A, your daily dose of coffee Q&A here on the onocoffee channel. I'm Jay, your host, and this is the coffee Q&A. How many times did I say coffee Q&A this morning? I don't know, but coffee Q&A, coffee Q&A, Q&A. Weekdays, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. Eastern. So how's it going? Good to see you. We're back again, and I've got a little bit of an announcement. We're going to do a giveaway. If you haven't noticed from the thumbnail or the title, we're giving away some stuff, and I thought I'd go over with you because I thought it's kind of exciting. I say, all right, well, let's do a giveaway. I got this thing that I thought would be really kind of fun for those of you who have a home set up at home, and this is a little bit specific to a particular brand. Mom, good morning to you. Kent, Malku, good morning to you guys as well, and I'll show it to you. This is from something from La Marzocco Home. Oh, we should zoom in a little bit. La Marzocco Home. It's actually made by a company called Artpresso Design. And Dan, good to see you. Dylan, how are you, man? And this is their Lux D mini grinder customization set in walnut. And if you're a YouTuber or if you watch YouTube, as obviously you must because you're here, the woodworking in YouTube is filled with everything walnut. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just a dark color, but and it maybe because it's expensive. But this is the walnut set. And in case you're was I looking at I don't know. Anyway, but in case you're wondering, like if you look it up, or you look at this is $160 retail on their website. And Charles, how are you, man? Good to see you. And Dylan loves walnut. Yeah, I love walnut too. Don't get me wrong. I love walnut as well. But I thought that let's get into it and see what's inside it in this here. Dev's in Hawaii. Aloha to you, man. How's things in Hawaii? So let's open it up here. This is it says La Marzocco Home, so you know it's got to be good. Now this is specifically for Mazzer grinders. I think it's really designed for the Mazzer mini grinder. Because, but if you have a Mazzer Major, like this is the Mazzer Major Auto, right? So and you can you see that? Yeah, and it's compared to the Mazzer Mini, this is a huge grinder, a huge 83 millimeter burrs, and it has However, the thing that is common to we're going to find this out, but my impression is that on the Mazzer Major, or the Mazzer Mini, it has a doserless grinding chamber. They should be the same diameter. So that should, if you have something this big and you have the doser, it should work. The big difference is going to be with this, what do you call it, with this hopper. Now this is the standard commercial hopper, but they do sell a smaller hopper that I have somewhere in storage that we use every blue moon. Or actually we use it on our decaf grinder. Not every blue. Well, I guess we're only making decaf every blue moon. So it could work if you have a bigger grinder, but you'll have to take those things into consideration. And it is just for Mazzer grinders, and it does have a La Marzocco logo on it. So, you can, if you're a Lilith Bianca fan and you've got a grinder and you got a Mazzer grinder, well, do you want to have the La Marzocco lion on it? That's a question you're going to have to ask yourself. Michael, how are you, man? How are things in Houston? We're coming to Houston this spring. Coming to Houston in April for the SCA Expo. Sometime in April. I never know when it is. But mid-April, typically mid-April. And then I have to come back again, but I'm going to San Antonio in May because one of my nieces is graduating high school in San Antonio. So, all right, let's have a look at what's inside. So you have the, brown cardboard packaging. And we open it up. Oh, there's a little bit of tissue paper, black tissue paper, so nice contrast to stay along with this color scheme, right? All right, here it is. Here's the card inside here. It says, exclusive created by Artpresso Design. Thank you for selecting the custom grinder set. Artpresso Design makes thoughtful handcrafted products in the USA. To visit more, you can visit Artpresso. Oh, I should note that this giveaway is not sponsored or endorsed or approved or anything to do with either Artpresso or La Marzocco. This is completely separate than them. So, yeah. So instructions. Replace the existing cover from your grinder, replace with the custom covers. Unscrew the existing grinder cover knob, replace it with the custom knob, hand tighten only. Do not use screws and knobs. To clean, wipe with soft cloth, warm water. Do not place this product in the dishwasher or submerge with wood or water. Okay, there it is. All right, that's easy enough. So, yeah. Now, inside here, let's have a look here so you can see what you get. Espresso Bikes. I'm Michael from Houston. Oh, another Michael from Houston. Actually, so many Michaels in Houston. I love it. I love it. All right, so we've got, this is, I think, the cover. Oh yeah, this is the lid in walnut with a plastic insert that goes on top of the grinding hopper. Can we see this? Is it hard? Let me push this over. Okay, this goes here. Oh, that fits. Oh, that fits perfectly well, and it has a little thing here so that you can put your tamper and rest it there. That's fairly nice, right? I think that's up. And it actually fits rather snugly. So it's not like the stock, oh, before I drop that, the stock lid, right? Oh, it's not too bad. It's a little bit hefty, right? This one seats, I guess they're all about the same, but it seats well. It seats well enough. Nicely finished, right? It's good finish. You know, even though I just started woodworking, right? So I'm like learning about woodworking now. I'm very, very new to it. I really don't have any experience, but I think I've got enough experience to be a total expert and judge everything that I see. You know how people start off in something new? They're like, yeah, I love it. I'm so interested. And then they're like, oh, that's all rubbish. That's all rubbish. That's rubbish. That's rubbish. It's like when you start off in coffee, you're like, you take some nice coffees. You're like, oh yeah, this is awesome coffee. And then you go to the coffee shop and you're like, no, you're doing that wrong. You know how it is. You know how it is. All right, let's go inside here. What else we have? We've got some screws. I guess these are the screws, mounting screws. We're not gonna, it's sealed, so I'm not gonna open that. I will leave that for the winner to explore and enjoy. And then inside here we have another piece, which is, this will be the lid. All right, this is the lid. Oh, that's pretty. All right, let's look here. So we have the lid here. It has a little. Now, I personally feel like I don't know if I would grab this, use this to grab, right? Like, because it's really shallow. It's only like maybe like 5 millimeters or so. So I feel like there's not enough grabbing, right? Like if I take the stock Mazzer lid, if I wanted to use this, there's a little bit more depth, right? The depth is greater. You can kind of see that, right? Well, you can see the depth is a little bit greater there. Plus, it also has a little bit of concavity, so that instead of just holding like this, you can actually cinch in a little bit, so it's a lot more secure. Where this, man, I'm like, I feel like it's gonna slip out of my fingers because I don't have enough depth in it. And like, you know, you don't wanna, you've got this pretty walnut, you don't wanna damage it, right? Now this will just sit on top of your lid, but unfortunately I don't have a lids, a hopper, the right size hopper for this, but the smaller one should fit. And the one that comes with the Mazzer Mini, especially if you're buying it from like, in a home setup, will have the right size hopper to fit this, right? This is what it's designed for. It's not, there's no reason that you guys, you know, most people for the home user doesn't really need like a 4 pound or whatever many pounds that hopper is for your home. I mean, that would be crazy. Not that we don't condone craziness here. We condone craziness very, very much. Oh, great. You're going to 10. Excellent. So now, okay, so that's basically all of it. So it's got these two pieces. I think they're really pretty. Walnut's really pretty. Again, this is for a Mazzer grinder, mini grinder with a doser. Otherwise, if you get does Mazzer make anything without dosers? I guess the newer ones. Yeah, if you have the Mazzer, old style Mazzer grinders with the external dosing chamber, and this will work even on like the dosing chambers, and not just the conical non-dosing, what do they call it? Non-dosing chamber. They will work as well. So yeah, it's available. It's available. Now, let me put all this back in here. We'll put it back here nice. And after I put it back in, I'm not going to touch it because, when the next time it opens, it will be for the person that has won this. Put that back in there. Put this back in here. Yeah, Michael, I think the walnut cap is very pretty, very pretty. Okay, so there it is. Now it's sealed. It's going to be like a time capsule sealed for the next 2 weeks or however long it takes to get there. So here's the thing. We have to go over some legalese details. Evidently, some of the YouTubers were like, dude, you need to make sure you get all your terms and conditions right. It's like, all right. And so if you go to the details, if you go to the description down below, you'll see all the terms and conditions. I'm going to read them off to you so that you'll at least hear them and be familiar with them. So first up is eligibility, right? These are the terms and conditions of the giveaway. Eligibility, the giveaway is open to anyone, anywhere on planet Earth. So where a lot of people will limit to the people that are citizens of the United States or people that live in the United States, we're not going to do any of that. We're going to go all the way. You can enter from anywhere on the planet. And if you're not in the United States, I will ship it to you, right? Now, you do have to cover your own taxes and custom duties, imports and all that. I won't cover that, but I will cover shipping anywhere it takes, right? So if you happen to be, if you're like, Peter Lee and you happen to be on assignment in Antarctica or something, and you're like, I need you to send it to me in Antarctica. All right, it's on the way to you, brother. It's on the way. So don't worry about that. Participants must be 18 years of age or older at the time of entry. So, I can't have minors and things like that. So, Suck-It Movie. I have no idea what that's related to, Baku, but I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying it. The entry period is the giveaway begins today, January 14th, 2025, and runs until January 28th, 2025. So 2 weeks, 2 weeks to enter. So you have time. You don't have to I was thinking about doing it today, we'll give it away today, but then I was like, we don't want you to rush. We don't want you to rush. Plus, I need more subscribers, so it gives more people time to subscribe. I will not deny the fact that this is a brazen grab for subscribers and view time and watch count and all that kind of stuff. It's brazen. It's brazen. I won't lie about that. Number 3, how to enter. So you have to sign up for coffee tips to the newsletter, which I don't really send many things out because you know what? I don't read newsletters. I hate getting newsletters. I don't want to be bothered with it. So when we have something good, we'll send it to you. Subscribe to this channel, the onocoffee channel. So if you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe now. And then subscribe to the onocoffee 4 channel on Instagram. So come join me on Instagram as well. So these are the 3 ways that will kind of pull all the names together. And also make sure that you set your account privacy settings so that if you win, I can reach you. If we can't contact you, how? So if you have your DMs blocked and all that, well, how am I going to let you know? You'll just have to watch the live stream and reach out to me somehow. And then also leave a comment in this video, not in the live stream comment, but in the regular comments. That way, the algorithm helps it all out. Tell us how you would like to use this mini Lux set. How would you use it? If you win it, what would you do with it? Right? Tell me. I'm curious to know. And then by commenting, you will agree to all the terms and conditions. So that's it. Then the winner selection. So winner will be randomly selected from eligible entries. So we're going to put all the names into a random number generator. So everyone will be all the entries. I think how we're going to do is we're going to have all the names assigned, all the entries assigned to a number, and then we're going to put the random number generator, and that random number generator is going to pop it up, and then that'll be the person who wins. Then we're going to reach out to you. So it'll be selected. The winner will be selected during this live stream on Tuesday, January 28th, 2025. So if you're watching this live stream on the replay after the fact, on January 29th, well, sorry. And then, of course, as you already know, if you're here, this live stream begins at 10 a.m. Eastern. Then notification, the winner will be announced during this live stream first. And then we will also try to contact the winner via the links that you have on your social media. That's why we want you to make sure your privacy settings are set. And then the winner, after the time that we announce, has 5 days to respond to claim the prize, or we will have to choose a new winner. So if we end up having to choose a new winner, we will do that again. What is it? The 28th is a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So if you don't respond by Monday, 28, 29, 30, 1, 2, 3, 4. Is it the 4th? If you don't respond by Monday, February 4th, we will pick a new winner on this live stream as well, again. So the prize is one Lamarzoco Mazzer Grinder Mini Lux D Set Walnut made by Artpresso Design. And onocoffee and onomedia are not liable to replace the prize. Replace the prize in the event of damage during transit or if the set is lost during shipping. No cash or other prize substitution is permitted. Number 7, shipping. The prize will be shipped to the winner's provided address with an estimated 2 weeks time of winner's confirmation, subject to change depending on how weather and blah, 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 and all that. Then taxes, customs, customs, duty, and fees. The winner is responsible for any taxes, duties, or fees associated with the prize. So again, if you win Australia and you win and they charge a lot of taxes, you got to cover that, sorry. And if you don't want to cover it, I understand, and you want to pass it on to someone else, I do understand that. Publicity, number 9, acceptance of the prize constitutes permission for onomedia to use the winner's name and likeliness for promotional purposes without further compensation. And then general conditions, onomedia reserves the right to disqualify any individual who tampers or attempts to tamper with the entry process. So don't wait. It's a grinder cover. Do you really need to try to game the system? Why? Onomedia is not responsible for late or lost entries. Yeah, if you're late or lost, sorry. And then this giveaway is not affiliated with Artpresso Design, Lamarzoco, Mazzer, or any social media platform from the Artpresso Design, Lamarzoco, or Mazzer oversee and are not sponsors or participants in this promotion. Yeah, like I said, they have no idea what we're doing, right? They have no idea. I can't say Lamarzoco doesn't know me because actually I know the Lamarzoco people very well over the years, but they have no idea. They have nothing. I got this from Matt, who had a whole bunch of them. He's like, hey, man, you want one of these? I was like, I'm going to give that away, dude. This is amazing. So scam disclaimer, please be cautious of potential scams. Onocoffee or any other media channel will never ask for personal or financial information outside of the specified entry process. Meaning that, like you've probably seen it before, if there are anybody that contacts you in the comments says, hey, and they've got Onocoffee as a name in some form or another, or any Ono something, that will not be me. I will not be reaching out to you in the comments in that manner. Like if I engage you in the comments, it'll be more like a like, and then a heart, and then maybe some kind of comment about that. But I will not ever ask you or tell you that you're the winner or anything like that ridiculous in the comments. And then we're not responsible for any scams or fraudulent activities. By participating in the giveaway and commenting on this video, you agree to comply with and abide by all the terms and conditions. Onomedia and Onocoffee reserves the right to amend or change the terms at any time. All right, so that's the whole deal. And here's with this. Wow, very nice. I feel like sending you a Bass Pro Shop and oh, I would be happy to give that away. That's a good. I like Bass Pro. It was funny because we were at Bass Pro one day, right? And I'm with some friends, and we're sitting in this chair, and I found this one chair that was super comfortable. I was like, what are those folding chairs? Because they're now the same. Bass and Cabela's are owned by Cabela's. So I'm sitting there one day, this is 2 years ago, and I was like, this is awesome. Maybe I should buy it. Because I got this one chair from Bass Pro Shop. That's nice. But this one was a little more robust and more comfortable. I was like, oh, God. And one of my friends was with us. He's like, oh, man, I'll buy you that chair for Christmas. I was like, I did buy me that chair for Christmas. I don't need that. No, I'll buy you a chair for Christmas. It'll be great. It'll be great. You love it. I was like, no, man. So later that year, that Christmas comes, and he buys me a chair. And I was like, I don't mean to be I'm not but there's this chair that I really like. If you're going to buy that, great. But he buys me the cheaper chair. And I was like, what is this chair? It doesn't even feel comfortable. It's not even the same chair. So I was like, whatever. So I took it back. I was like, I'm thankful that you bought me a chair. He didn't have to do that. I don't ask for gifts because, when you're old, you don't have to you don't want any more gifts. You're like, I got too much crap at home. Look at all this. I got too much here. So I was like, okay, I'm going to go return it and get the chair that I really like. So it turns out the chair that I really like was $70 or 90, almost $90 or something like that, which is part of the reason why I probably didn't buy it when I sat in it, because I was like, I'm not paying $90 for that. But I got this chair, and it was like $25. I was like, $25? Man, I still got to shell out $60. I was like, oh man, lose money here, man. It was terrible. It was terrible. But it was, I appreciate the thought. But I had to spend more money at the end of the day. And then turns out now I should have kept the chair, because I shot this one video, and I haven't released it yet, but it's a coffee review video where I'm drinking this, like, I think it's Boss coffee, right? And you'll know which one it is, because I'm actually sitting on a excavator, right, at this construction site. And I had the chair already. The chair that he was giving me, the cheaper one, I already had. It's one of those camp chairs that kind of X-folds, right? With a little tray next to it, which is nice, but they're not terribly comfortable. But I have the one, and I had it in the car with me, and I used it at this location to shoot this video, and I put it back in the back of the truck, and I drove away. But what I forgot to do is I didn't really close the tailgate. So this chair that I've kind of like not really grooved with, I haven't really liked much, flew out the back somewhere. I never could find it. Like, I drove back and forth on the trip, on the route that I took. Multiple times I was thinking, how is it possible this chair is gone? Like, did somebody steal it? Like, did they see it on the road? And now I gotta get a new one, because actually I realized that this chair is nice. Now that it's gone, I miss it. That's what it is. Now that it's gone, you miss it. You're like, oh man, I should get another one. Because the one that I got was really awesome, but it's also kind of heavy and bulky. It's like, it's not, and it's got this bag you're trying to put in this, it folds up, and you put in this bag, and it's all, you're like, it's just not as easy to deploy, right? And to. Maku says, sorry, I had to step out. Could you repeat all the disc? Okay, no problem. Charles says, time to get an Instagram. Yeah, get him the Instagram account, Gotta feed the meta universe, right? And Anton says, I made one because it's the first place to find out about new burrs. I think the website is too messy. But wait, the Instagram website is messy? Okay. And Mo says they have a surprising amount of wonderful things. Yeah, they got chairs. I go there to buy, you can buy ammo for sporting clays for $90, $96, I think. The harder, the target rounds are for a case is fairly reasonably priced. Nothing's cheap anymore. This is America. Nothing's cheap in America. But I like it. I like it a lot. I like going. But it's just far away from me. But what else do I get there? I go there, get that. Sometimes that's what I get. Whenever you see me wearing the flannel, a lot of the flannel I get is the redhead flannel, because you know what, they sell the flannel for $20 on sale. And then sometimes I got these the synthetic vests. I remember one year I got the blue vest. There's a light blue, baby blue vest that I'll wear once in a while. If you ever see that was $15 from Bass Pro Shop. I was like, $15. And at the time I was a little bit I wasn't as svelte as I am now. So it was all it was all it was all tight. I was like, oh, got tight. Now that I'm more svelte, it's loose. It's weird. And actually the weird thing is that now that I'm more svelte, I'm cold. I'm constantly cold. Now it's I never used to be cold. I'd be sitting around in a t-shirt, the winter, right now, be no problem. But now, man, I don't know how you skinny people live, man. It's too difficult. And Emo says they have durable clothing and ammo. Durable clothing, but they have Black Rifle coffee. Not terribly good. Covering any type of game or clay. Oh, for sure. I remember actually I was there one day and I was walking around the boating section. Not that I have a boat, but I was walking the boating set, because you know what I like about boating? I like the radios, those Icon radios. I'm like, I should buy one. I'm not going on the water anymore. I have no business of being out there. Fat guys should not be on the water like that, right? But I was I keep looking at them I would like to get one day. And I've been doing this for 20 years. I would like to buy one day. But so the one guy's like, hey. And I said something to him, I forgot what I said, but he's like, hey, are you from Hawaii? And I was like, once upon a time. And it turns out he was actually from Honolulu. And I was like, oh, interesting. So whenever you find people that are from Hawaii, you always come to, like, I remember once, you'll see it in one video. In the video that I go to, there's a video that I'm in Japan that is the one about the pizza toast from a place called Bugen down in Kanagawa. I think it's in Kanagawa. And it's south of Tokyo. And I'm walking back, talking to the camera, right? And there's this woman and her friends, right? They look like they're from Hawaii. Like if you lived in Hawaii, you kind of know what they look like, right? I think Dev would understand this. But I walked by them, I was like, I'd say it in the video. You can hear it in the audio. And I was like, hey, I said, how's it or something, just like that. It was super subtle, I thought, like just kind of like, because you could kind of tell. And then she was like, hey, are you from Hawaii? And I was like, oh, well, a long time ago. And she's like, so we ended up talking. It's kind of funny, like, I don't know, not that funny. Maybe it's not important at all. Anyway, so Anton says, I'm quite skinny and I don't really freeze. Yeah, but you're German, man. You're like used to that kind of thing. I'm like Southeast Asian, or I'm originally from Southeast. Well, I'm consummated, I guess, in Southeast Asia. So maybe that's one of my friends. He's Haitian, right? He's always like, I'm freezing my butt off. I was like, dude, you've lived in America all your life. What are you talking about freezing? Stop that. But he's a Yankee fan, so you have to kind of be accepting of things like that. Anton says, I remember the video. Oh, remember the video. It was quite funny to see. Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm glad you saw that. Thanks. All right, so while we have some time here, we should do some coffee making, right? So maybe let's do some espresso. If there's any kind of aspect of espresso you might have a question about or let me know, because we have some time. And yeah, I don't know. I don't have anything else to tell you because now that we talk about the giveaway, and yeah, that's the giveaway. The giveaway's there. We're going to do something. I'm going to share this one video. We're going to do a video, not a video, but we'll do a live stream about a coffee. Sometimes you totally muck things up. And somehow I totally mucked up this one woman's order. Like, I don't know how I missed it, but I saw an order the other day when I was fulfilling the last round of orders. There was one order from December 10th, like a month ago, unfulfilled. I was like, son of a gun. I couldn't believe. I was like, oh man, I can't believe it. And so I reached out to the woman and I was like, I'm really sorry about this. Like, I totally mucked things up on this. And she wanted the coffee set that we normally do for Christmas. And I was like, what can we do to rectify things? My apologies. You want me to, I can, if you want me to put the order still together, no problem. Or if you want me to, would you like something else or whatever you'd like? She's like, well, could I get some of that Phoenix coffee, which is this coffee that we make, really we only make it once a year. And I don't know how she saw it. Maybe it's still on the website. I really have to revamp. I'm working on a revamp of the website now. But she was like, I'd like to try that Phoenix coffee. And the Phoenix coffee is a coffee we release during St. Patrick's Day era, where we actually take the coffee and we infuse it with Teeling's whiskey. And so I said, no problem. We'll take care of that. So I made a batch of it, and I'm going to show it to you tomorrow when it's all ready. It should be ready by tomorrow. And yeah. Deb says that's how it always is whenever I travel. People who want, they always say, and here's the interesting thing, like, I grew up in Baltimore, right? And then I lived in Honolulu for like 8 years and was very much accustomed to the ways there. And what I learned, especially during that time, is that as I would travel anywhere in the world, if I was like, if I ran into people and they're like, oh, where are you from? I was like, oh, I'm from Baltimore. Like back then, it wasn't so bad. Like nowadays, if you say you're from Baltimore, people are like, oh, The Wire. It's like, great. Yeah, we're all criminals. It's all right. But back then, people are like, oh, yeah, you're from, wherever you're from, Baltimore, whatever. It's not so big deal, right? But any one time I told people that I was from Hawaii, they were like, whoa. Like the reaction was completely different. Like at one time it's 2003. I went to Boston because it was my very first SCA, Specialty Coffee of America, Association of America conference. It wasn't called Expo back then, it was just called a conference. It was in Boston, and my aunt lives in Boston, so we went up there. And then we had a whole group of friends, my brother, his girlfriend, who is his wife now, and a whole bunch of people came with us. And we're all in Boston hanging out. And I asked my aunt, I said, hey, I'd like to go and get some really great clam chowder. And everyone that I talked to, hey, where's good clam chowder? They're like, Legal Seafood. And I'm like, I don't want to go to Legal Seafood, not because I think it's bad, but because I've got a Legal Seafood here in Baltimore. The last thing I want to do is go to a place that I can go to at home. I want to go someplace that's hardcore and really great. And so one of my aunt's friends was like, told her to go to this place called the Fish Pier in an area called Dorchester in 2003. Now, if you go to Dorchester today, it's a whole different world. But back then, 22 years ago, man, Dorchester, like, I remember we walked into this place, right? And it was like, this is like where, like, I think like Ben Affleck and them come from, right? And it's pretty hardcore, like Boston, Southie working class. And we walk into this place. And I tell you what, if there was a jukebox, it would have stopped with a scratch, because these people looked at us like we were like, they were like, what the fuck are you doing here? I was like, and my aunt, I don't know what my aunt is totally oblivious. Like, she's totally like a hardcore, like crazy woman. So she's totally oblivious and like it doesn't register. Like she's been in Boston for like the last 70 years. So she's totally like hardcore, right? And I'm just like, obviously she's not reading the room, but these people are like, it was so crazy. The cook came out from the kitchen to see what the hell are these people doing here, right? And I'm like, man, how do we get out of it? Because my aunt's like, do you have table? Do you sit down? Or the girl is like, no, like we don't do any kind of that kind of. Basically, she's like, no, and giving us like a hard time. And my friends are all like, what is happening, right? And I'm thinking, okay, how do we extricate ourselves from this situation, or how do we improve the situation? And the one thing, like I said, is as I traveled around the world, I would tell people that I was living from Hawaii, people's reaction was so different, right? Suddenly they become, and my aunt's like talking to the woman and she's like, what do you want? And I'm like, there's a menu on the wall. I was like, well, I don't know what's good here. We don't really have anything like this in Hawaii. Or maybe I said in Honolulu, one of those two words. And the girl was like, are you from Hawaii? And I was like, oh yeah, we're visiting here for a coffee conference. The moment I said that, man, 180-degree turnaround. This woman like was suddenly like nice, accommodating, like whatever aura of Hawaii that she thought of was so warming to her that suddenly we were like warm. And she was like, oh, sit down and I'll bring you your food. I was like, what kind of craziness is this? Right. So if we were just some regular like Asian people like walking in here from China, then we were like some kind of interlopers. But since we were from Hawaii, suddenly it was like, oh, that's amazing. So sometimes you'll play that card to smoothen things out. Charles says that, speaking of espresso, made my first shot for my new Ninja Lux Cafe. Oh, weren't we just talking about that last week? The Ninja. So how is that, man? If group interest, I will share my experience. Yes, definitely. I'm interested. We were talking about that last week. I'm really interested to know how that might work out. Anton says, I know someone who would love whiskey infused. Yeah, we actually imparted during the drying phase or the cooling phase of the roasting process. Actually, if you go to the Spro Coffee channel, there's a video there showing how we do it. And it doesn't always happen, but in that particular day when we were shooting that video, it does ignite in the cooling tray. So you see this like fire. So it's kind of nice. It's kind of cool. I was like, which is good because it burns off. The idea is that we burn off the alcohol content so that it's not alcohol. You just get that kind of tinting of the flavor of the tealing. M0 says, I got into so much trouble on a plane to Kauai. The people are striking looking. It wasn't a shallow like objectivity thing. As a person of mixed heritage, I found it to be distinctly beautiful looking. Oh, you mean you couldn't stop staring at them? Yeah, the girls? Yeah, I totally hear you on that. I can't stop staring at them either. You're just like, what? It's like, oh, Auntie, how are you? How are you? But what I like in Hawaii, I don't know how it is now. Like maybe it's changed. I think it's changed maybe, but like in my time in the 90s, like the girls always would wear like the bikini tops with the board shorts. I still love that. I still love that. Marcus wants to know. Marcus figures that it must be Anton. Of course it must be Anton. M0 says, my ex thought I was gawking. Oh yeah, that's always You know, I had this one time, I was dating this one girl. Man, I really liked this girl. She was like this really, I thought I was going to marry her at one point, right? But like my ex at the time had a shop across the street. Okay, my ex was really beautiful. Like, not to say that my girlfriend at that time, it wasn't beautiful. Like she's beautiful. They're both really good. Why a fat guy like me gets girls like this is just it just doesn't make sense. But beautiful women, right? My ex was a little bit crazy, you know. Actually, she was very crazy at the time. Like, you know, she was 26 at the time, so it was, you know, you're a little bit crazy at that age, right? And so, like, we had some pretty crazy, harrowing times, and like, there's a bit of like PTSD with her, for me, with her. And I was like, oh god. So I remember my girlfriend came with me. We went to the shop, and she's across her shop's across the street. My girlfriend at the time knew this, that the girl's, my ex's shop is across the street. And I glanced over because really I'm glancing over not because I want to check her out, but because I'm afraid like she might come out with like a hammer or something. And literally, I'm that paranoid. Like at the time, it was really, the PTSD was pretty strong. And like you're saying, man, so I had to eat so much crow. Or those she got so mad. She's like, I was like, oh gosh, it's not what you think, but it doesn't matter what I say, right? You can see different ethnicities in people. Combined with the history, it was nice. I smelled frequently. Yeah, one does. You know what I think is really interesting is that with different ethnicities is as I traveled more and more through Africa to Africa, mostly East Africa. Like I've never been to West Africa or South Africa or even Northern Africa. I've just been Eastern Africa. But as I traveled through Eastern Africa multiple times over the years, you start to see different characteristics in people as far as like ethnic origin, right? And it was interesting because I would see that here in Americans, like, you know, Black Americans, that they would have features that would to me seem very familiar to, like, let's say maybe they were more Ugandan or maybe more Ethiopian looking, and it's like, so it's no, so I totally hear you on the whole, like, you know, seeing different ethnicities in people. Anton says that he does not drink alcohol. Okay, very good. And then Emma wants to found them to be distinctly beautiful. Yeah, it's sometimes you just trip over the word, like they're just so pretty. You're like, huh? What? Michael says, come out with a hammer. That's the yeah. Well, she that's never know. Anton says a festool hammer. Yeah, well, she would have. What kind of hammer would she have had? It would have been an angry hammer. She's amazing. Don't get me wrong. Like my ex was amazing. She's an amazing woman, even still to this day. Like she went off to do amazing things in food service and restaurants. Like she's amazing. And that was the thing that I was always heard I would battle about. It's like, you know, when you're focused, you're like incredible. But when you like lose focus, you're just like, it's just insanity. Like it would be insanity. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is just too much for me. And after a while, I was like, this is too much. I can put up with, you know, the scale, the crazy hot scale, right? Like she was truly crazy hot. Like what is it? Which axis is the hot? This is the hot and this is the crazy, right? Like her hotness was way. One of my friends still today, he's still like, that's the hottest girl you ever dated. I was like, I disagree, but I hear you. And he's like, she's way up here, right? and you know, whether the crazy, whatever, but man, it did exceed that. I was like, oh, I can't put up, I won't survive it. I won't survive. It's just a simple matter of survival. I was like, I have to like extricate myself from this situation. And usually I'm the one that like lingers on too much. I was like, I gotta get out of here. It's like, I gotta go. So, all right, so let's make some coffee since we're talking. And oh, Emo says, I've been laughing for a while now, but I've not heard you've not heard the crazy hot scale? Okay, crazy hot scale is basically, there is, I guess is this the y-axis or the z? I don't know, whatever. The vertical axis is hot, right? And then the y-axis is crazy. So as you, and there's the meridian line, right? The meridian line, right? So basically as, you know, guys will tolerate crazy as long as it's in the hot area, right? So I guess in this area, we can like handle it. But once it exceeds the point, the crazy exceeds the point of hotness, then it becomes, we're out of equilibrium, right? You know, women who are watching that are probably like, you guys are pigs, right? This is just wrong, especially in modern eras. Like I'm probably going to get canceled for this, but you know, but the reality is that men are very simple. We're very simple creatures. Like we don't really have much intelligent thought on these kind of things. We're just kind of like, you're beautiful and I'm willing to talk to you. Like, will you talk to me, please? All right. Okay, thank you. At least maybe my generation. I think the newer generation's much like my nephew, right? He's like 13 and we'll talk and he'll be like, and I'll be like, so do you like girls now? And he's like, no, I don't like girls. I feel very not neutral. I was like, oh, okay, very good, very good. Like I remember when I was 13, I was like, women, girls. But yeah, it's much different now. They're much, plus they're also nicer to each other. They're friendlier, they're more supportive. You know, like in my time, we're just stab each other in the back, no problem. Hey man, you're my best friend, I'm gonna stab you in the back. But tomorrow we'll hang out some more. That's fine, no problem. Anton says, I swear my grinder finishes faster when I zero stat it. There's less popcorning than what I do. We need to figure out a way to like do more scientific testing with that to really prove that out. And CPBIW says that unicorns don't exist. They don't. All right, let's make a little bit of coffee since this is the Coffee Q&A podcast or live stream, whatever you want to call it. So we've got our espresso machine, which is, of course, the La Valentina and portafilter, so a dirty portafilter. So let's just pull. We're going to pull a shot. We're just going to go straight ahead. Let's do some. Let's also do a little bit of testing to see how well I keep forgetting to plug this thing in. Let me plug this in now before it totally dies on us again. I feel like it doesn't last as long as it should. I would like it to last like, I don't know, I would just like it to never have to worry about plugging it in. Like I could go for years on my other scales and never, or I feel like I could go for years. Okay, 580 grams. Tear that sucker out. Let's go now to the machine. We're just not going to clear it out like we normally do. We're just going to go straight to the grinding and the dosing. Okay, so we've got a mound. And this is a video that I'm thinking about making. I was just thinking about last night. I was thinking, we need to make a video about how to distribute like a pro, right? So I'm working on that right now. But we're going to do this. But as I said here, as you already know, we talked about like when you dose, and I think this is true whether you're using this type of dosing machine or if you're using, you know, just the on-demand grinding type of machine. It's going to drop the coffee into your basket, and it's going to be different every time. Like right now, we see there's a little bit lower here, right? But the rest of it is pretty high. There's a little bit of a boulder, but the mounding is here. Like the mounding works all the way around where this is the low point. So every time that I go to distribute is always a little bit different because I'm looking at the conditions at the moment. I don't know if you think of it that way, but this is a way that I tend to think about it now. And, you know, So I would just sweep it this way because I want to cover here, right? So I'm sweeping there, but I don't want to knock it off. So that's why I'm coming back this way to bring it here. Now I haven't fully filled in that spot. So I'm going to come around now here, and that does. And then now I'm just going to kind of go this way. So I'm just kind of bringing it in there. And here's our kind of like pseudo devil's tower. Right now, I could tamp it right now and try to incorporate it. Well, actually, let's have a look here and see what do we have. So if we left it like this, how much? We would have 22.23 grams. So now what we could do is, and I did feel like I wanted to sweep off a little bit of we want to sweep off a little bit of this into the dosing chamber. I think that would be good. Now let's check that. Let's check that and see. 21.8. Okay, that's good. We're going to probably lose a little bit in the tamping. So we pretty much got it all distributed. Now we're just going to put the tamper on top. And again, I like to use my fingers, these two fingers, on opposing sides that are touching both the top of the piston and the top of the basket rim, and just making sure that it's even all the way around, right? Just the level is even enough. If I need to adjust it, I'll just push. I'll just push and make it level. That's pretty level, so that's good. Then, grab your tamper, put it into a nice, comfortable grip, a little bit of pressure, a little bit of a twist. There's a little bit of debris. We just kind of flick that out. And then you can just kind of sweep around. Now, be careful when you're doing this, because if you want to keep your fingers kind of convex, concave, or whatever, convex, so that you're not gouging into the puck here, right? So that's pretty much it. Now let's look at how much coffee do we actually have in here now. 21.7. Okay, that's good. This is ideal. We want to have 21 grams. I'm not going to worry too much about the 0.7. 21 is perfectly fine. So, now time to pull. So we're going to flush the group head. This is a little mirror here. I love the idea. I think I got the idea when I was watching a Hoon video, and I was like, oh, that's pretty awesome. So I ordered one of these from Amazon, but I almost never use it. Like I should use it. I just never really get into the habit of doing it. Okay, so we flushed it out to make sure that all of the extra hot water is pulled out of the line, the brew line. And now we're going to lock it in. And then first thing, press the button. And you don't have to rush. There's some time for you to get the cup underneath. I'm not even coming out. Now it's coming out. Uh-oh. There's a little bit of flow around the gasket because I think the gasket is pretty much at the end of its life. And we had a little bit of flutter there. So we had a little bit of flutter. Hopefully you caught some of that. It's kind of hard to see from up here. And there's our result, and looks fairly nice, right? It's got nice brownish crema. Reddish brown crema. There's a little bit of this blonding right here. So that little blonding is the indication that we're kind of finishing our shot. A couple of little bubbles. We just want to knock those out. I think the knocking of the bubbles is really more of an aesthetic thing rather than anything else. Just it looks nicer that way. I think it's one of those things where you want to have a nice looking shot so that, especially if you're serving to someone else, it's visually appealing. So therefore it becomes more tasty looking and hopefully improves their experience. And if you made any mistakes as a barista and you're serving to someone, maybe it covers it over. Oh, here's something else also you want to get in the practice of doing, especially if you're making coffee for other people. Don't apologize. Never apologize, right? Just be like, here's an espresso. Because, this is true of professionals and I think of regular home enthusiasts, that we have this like knack of like, we want to like apologize for something. We want to say, oh, it's not perfect. It's not this. Just don't say anything. Just don't say anything. It's like a woodworker said to me once, it's like, an amateur, then it says, a professional makes mistakes in woodworking. an amateur points it out. So don't say anything. Just be like, here's your coffee. Thank you. Good extraction, like a little bit of like, maybe even like a tangerine fruitiness on the front. Good body, robust. I can only imagine this will get better as we go because, this was just the first. This is the first pull. There's nothing. We didn't do anything. We didn't do any of our normal procedures for like cleaning or preparing the coffee. We just took whatever grounds had been already ground that are stuck inside the burrs and just used them. And not bad. Very nice. Anton says, oh, and we already said that. So my grinder finishes faster than zero set. All right, that's pretty good. So let's do another one. Oh, well, first of all, but let's have a look at our puck because we know that the puck tells a story. And so we've got good impression here on the bed here. You can see the ring right from the dispersion screen. That's good. Oh, nice and stiff. Good, I like that. So we're expecting it now to be fairly dry and should be quite intact, right? So we've got this puck now that is, good, and it's got good resistance, comes apart. You can see in here, it's even as far as the wetness or lack of wetness now, but it's also very hot, so I'm going to get it on my fingers. And then let's look into the basket. We like to look in the basket to tell us more about the espresso. Again, the basket doesn't tell us more than just whether or not we had a little bit of under extraction, over extraction, or we have pulled the ideal extraction out of it. And I say ideal extraction because it's not necessarily good, it's not necessarily bad. It's just, running the brew to the point where you've extracted the maximum or ideal amount of solubles into the water. And then now let us rinse. Again, we like to rinse. I just like to rinse out the portafilter, make sure the spouts get wet a little bit, and then I'll stop and then leave it hanging in the group head. That way the water will drip out onto the drip tray instead of trying to utilize it right away, and then you're dripping water all over your workspace, which then you have to take a moment to clean. So it's really, doing this is more about saving time and being more efficient rather than anything else, right? Dan asked, any thoughts on a smaller portafilter producing a thicker espresso than 58 millimeters? I've had espresso made from like San Remo's as well as Della Corte's that are like 53 millimeters. And I think, so where the different diameter, and if you talk to like Holger Lente from Della Corte, he's got a lot of reasons why 53 millimeter is superior to 58. I don't think too much about it, and I'm old school and kind of like, curmudgeonly. So I'm like, oh, that's crazy, dude. That's crazy. But, whatever. It works. And Della Corte machines can produce really wonderful shots of espresso. And I think La San Marco can produce really nice shots of espresso as well. The difference, where they make the difference, is in the basket, right? So this is the typical 58 millimeter basket, right? And when you shrink the size of the portafilter or the diameter, what they do is they also now elongate or go deeper with the basket depth. This way they can still accommodate the same amount of, you can still put in your 18 grams of coffee or whatever you're using. The theory behind that is that because it's a deeper stack, that extraction is better. I mean, is that true or not? I don't know. Honestly, I don't. I've had really good shots from 53 millimeter espresso baskets, and I've had really great shots from 58. I think it's really more of a stylistic choice. I could be wrong, but I never really noticed Like I've never had like a 53 millimeter experience that was like so undeniably amazing that I was like, I must change. But I should also temper that thought with like, there's very few things that I've seen that makes me want to change anything because I'm old and curmudgeonly at this point. But I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I think that there is really great equipment out there. Like the Delacorte machines, I think are really awesome. Anton says, and I think it's not the smaller size, but the thicker if you get less headspace. Yes. That's what the Decent community found out. Okay. Yes, I guess Decent uses a thinner or narrower diameter on their portafilters. Dan says Swirls has been making mod kits for various machines. So they're Swarks. So Swarks, they're making mod kits to like convert 58 millimeter to 53 millimeters or whatever down. I'm not familiar with that. Okay. And Anton says Swarks products are super nice, very expensive though, pricey indeed. They're like in the Festool world. Everybody's pricey. All right, so let's do another shot just to see what kind of progression we can get from this first shot that presumably has less than ideal coffee grounds that have been, staling for, what is today? Today's Tuesday. I haven't pulled an espresso in here since our last episode on Friday. So they've been staling for 4 days. Pretty darn good. All right, let's go. Now, more grinding. Now, with these kind of grinders, what I like about them, and I know a lot of people are like, well, why do you want to stay with these older style dosing grinders? One of the best things that I like about them is that I don't have to actually, even though I'm standing here waiting for it to grind, I don't have to. What I can do, especially in a professional situation, is I can turn the grinder on, start grinding, and take care of one other task or 2 other tasks, come back, and then I will have enough coffee ground into the hopper that I can just dose out instead of having to stand there and hold the portafilter through the whole time. Or in some of the dosing grinders, you just kind of have to wait. Now, that changes when you get to something like really significant, like let's say the Malkonig E65 or especially the Malkonig E80S. Those are dosed by weight grinders that are hyper fast. Like the E80 will do 19, 20 grams in like 2 or 3 seconds. So, you're like 1001, 1002, 1003, you're done. So you're not really, in those cases, they're really fast. So you don't really waste much time. In this case, these older grinders, they do take a little more time. So now you are paying for the E80, $4,500 for that. So we've got our coffee in here now, and that's a lot. That's a lot of coffee. And you can see here that there's a lot of bouldering as well as the whole thing is small there. So again, we're going to sweep in this way and come around because I want to swing around and just kind of cover it, right? And then maybe come back a little bit there. Good. Okay, so now let's see how much coffee is in there now. I'm going to see how much coffee is in here. Oh, step down kits. Okay. 58 to 49. Wow, 58 to 49. That is significant. So now we have 22.8 grams. So relatively consistent with the last time that we did this, which is good. So we're going to take a little bit and swipe it off again. That probably was a lot more than normal. Now let's weigh this to see where we are on the. So 21.3. So we swept off like 1.3 grams more than the last time because we're at 21.7. And then let us now see about tamping. Again, we're going to put this down, do the temp, get rid of all the excess. And then let's measure one more time to see what. There we are, 21.2. So fairly even, right? 21.7, 21.2. We're a half gram difference from the last time. Fresher coffee, so probably maybe a little bit better, maybe. M0 says espresso shot, plantain bananas, and brown sugar bread. Ooh, plantain bananas, that sounds good. And brown sugar bread. Anton says Scott Rao said once said, "Don't groom your espresso." I have no idea what that guy's talking about. So no to puck. Oh, no to puck rakes. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I get why people use the rakes, right? Because like you see the clumping that was in that, and you want to break that apart. But I don't. As you can see that as I'm sweeping, the clumps really don't. It's not like they're boulders, like they're hard boulders that refuse to break. Like you're not pounding it, so they will come apart. Yeah. I don't really use. I mean, I have one. I don't really use it. I just use this, just the finger. All right, let's go back to see this shot now. We're gonna flush again because we've been talking a lot. So temperature has risen in the line a bit. Just want to make sure it runs clean, and then now we can lock and load. Get our cup here. I've got this new one from Visions Espresso. Actually, it's pretty old. I just found it yesterday. All right, so nice reddish crema coming out. Looks a little fast or faster. A little bit of sweeping there, so that's done, right? There was a little, I don't know if you saw that, a little bit of fluttering, finished. Let that drip out, come out here. Now, I think that just initially, the previous shot, I think the crema had a much richer reddish brown color than this one, right? You can kind of see it here on the rim, sort of. This one is nice, but it doesn't seem as reddish brown sexiness as it was before. Anton says, for me, it's the other way around. I have to flush to force a new heating cycle, then flush to lower temp just enough. I see. Well, soon anyway, the more is coming. I know, we know. We're looking forward to seeing more about that. Okay, so there, actually, as it's sitting here now, we're talking, looks like to me, it looks like it's gotten darker. So that's probably a plus. It's probably a plus. All right, let's have a taste and see what it's like. Ooh, a little bit more, in some ways cleaner, in some ways a little brighter, but also that first sip had this kind of like pickle juice characteristic. Interesting. Quite different than this one. All right, now I'm curious. Now let's do one more as a comparison. But let's see here quickly while we look here. Let's look here. The puck is slightly comparatively softer, slightly. Clean. We also stopped at the right moment, so that's good. While I flush this out, I'm gonna let that drip so we can save a little time while we look at this cookie. The cookie still good, still dry, still consistent on the inside. There's no unevenness there. Okay, now one more shot. Let's go back over here. Make sure that our portafilter and basket is nice and dry, or the basket's nice and dry. The portafilter is not so much. And then now we can just grind. Now I can just let them do something else. I think we should be pretty close that time. Oh yeah, it's way too much. So again, we have this fall, and it's relatively even, but right here is the lowest point, and you can kind of see it's kind of got this steep cliff that's happening for some reason. So again, we're going to be sweeping this way first. Let's sweep this way first to fill that in. I'm going to sweep this way and then swing around, right? Just because I just don't want to lose it. Just want to make sure that the sides are all covered. And now we've got this big mount here. We're probably at 22.5. Let's have a look here and see where we might be. Oh, 23.6. Look at that. We totally have added too much. So now we're going to go back and we're going to sweep away quite a bit. Maybe a little bit more. Good. Let's test that. If we want to keep it. 22.5. Okay, that should be good. We're going to, by the time we finish with this, I'm going to make sure that everything's a little bit even again. It probably will be, probably be closer to 22. Yeah, 22. Oh, this is the highest one, 22.5. So we should expect heavier extraction from this, probably slower. So let's have a look. I'm really flushing more out of habit this time, but here we go. Oh yeah, so I can feel it's a little bit tighter to get in. Definitely slower on the extraction. Oh, this is looking fairly nice. Okay, the reason that I stopped at this moment, not necessarily, the other two shots you saw there was a little bit of fluttering happening. That was really a clear indication, time to stop. This time I'm stopping mainly because I can see some blonding now that the flow has stopped. But the reason I stopped at this moment that I did was more because it's just intuition. It's just the coffee. I feel like my internal intuition is just screaming at me to stop now. You're running a little bit, you're starting to get to run too long. Based on just what I'm seeing, the flow, even though there's no fluttering happening, the flow is still going, plus the volume is getting kind of high. So I'm like, oh, we need to stop because I'd rather be, for me personally, I would rather be a little bit short on the shot than be too long, right? Okay, so let's come over here. We got a little bit of bubbles. All right, a little bit of bubbles. So again, we're going to tap that out. Okay, they're all tapped out now, except for the down there. So. All right, now, nice and dark. So this is a darker crema when we at this point than this was at that point. So we're all expecting a little more richness, a little more body, a little more of everything. So let's see if that's what's coming. Oh yeah, actually, now we're back. We went away now from the pickle juice kind of aspect of that brighter kind of initial sip to this is a heavier, more tangerine-like brightness. And that brightness is definitely toned down, but the tangerine is a little more forward. Oh, good body, good mouthfeel. God, oh, that's nice. Oh, when it comes to espresso, like this style of espresso, this is kind of what I like. This is what I like. If I had some milk to make a macchiato, oof, that would be beautiful. Dan says, updosing to the rescue, or did you have blonding occur sooner in the extraction? In this, oh yeah, I should have mentioned that. So in this, the blonde, at least in this shot, the blonding did not occur too soon. I only really noticed the blonding after we had stopped the shot and the shot had stopped flowing. And then you could see a little bit of the blonding forming in those two spots, right? So I guess I totally forgot to point that out. But let's have a look at our puck here and everything as we want to do. You can see here there is good impression of the dispersion screen. It does feel good and firm. Again, the cookie is just nicely dry or evenly dry throughout. I want to say evenly wet, but it's not wet. It's kind of it's not wet, but it's also, since it has been saturated with water, it's not technically dry. So I can't say that. And then here, let's look here at our portafilter clean. So again, the clean portafilter means that we have stopped the shot at the right moment that we should stop it for best extraction, for ideal extraction. Now, a lot of this has to, part of this is all about like correlating all of these aspects of espresso making together, right? So in my mind, we have, for this espresso, this is our Espresso 99 from Spro. And it's designed to be a heavier bodied, like full, lingering, like aftertaste, nuts, fruit, chocolate type of espresso, right? It's not meant to be light or bright like a lot of modern day espressos. But, the thing is to know what the espresso is supposed to be like, how it's designed, and the parameters. So like the parameters that we're trying to use for this, our basic recipe for this coffee is 21 grams of coffee that we want to grind to a particular fineness, so that when we put 21 grams of coffee in a double shot portafilter or double shot basket, and we're pushing, 8.5 bars or 135 PSI of 200-degree water onto it, we should get an extraction of about 1.5 to 2 ounces. So what is that? 45 to 60 milliliters. And we want that to occur in 25 to 29 seconds. Those are the ideal parameters. Now, in this case, when we actually come to the brewing cycle of these, I'm not necessarily paying attention to a lot of those details. I'm really looking now at what's physically happening in front of me, right? So we'll try to put the right amount of coffee. And as you've seen, we've always been a little bit more than 21 grams, 21.7, 21.5, 22.5, or 22.4 was the last one. We're a little bit higher, but we're also looking to see the performance of it. So how does the water come out? And when does it tell us to stop? Ideally, if we're using 21 grams of coffee and we should have a shot that reaches that volume, 24 to 29 seconds, 25 to 29 seconds, that's when between that 25 to 29 seconds is when we should see that flutter or start to see the appearance of the blonde, because those are indications for us to stop. The wizardry is putting all of that together so that they all time at the same points. Now, you'll hear from other organizations, let's say the Specialty Coffee Association, they like to give a range, 20 to 30 seconds. And that's because they're trying to accommodate a wide range of operators, people, and standards and all this. And those are perfectly good. The idea for us with this coffee is 25 to 29. But then at the actual execution, we kind of throw that out, right? We have these rules to follow so that we can throw them out at the moment, right? Because if it's really about watching the performance of the coffee and letting the coffee tell you how it's doing. And then in the case of being a home enthusiast, the best part about it is that you're tasting your drink. So you can taste it and see, was that good? Did I like it? How could we make that better? Whereas if you're a professional barista working in a bar setting, you can taste the drinks at the beginning of your shift. You can taste your drinks that you make for yourself, but you can't taste the drinks you're giving to the guest because, like we talked in the past, people would freak out. Like, hey, here's your espresso. Let me take a. All right, it's good. Enjoy, right? Yeah, you wouldn't be too happy with that. I'd be like, what are you doing, man? So we have to use certain indicators like this to kind of guide us, to tell us how we're doing. But the best part about being a home enthusiast is that you get to drink it. You get to see, like, okay, so let's go through our progression here today, right? We had this progression. First shot, pretty good. We didn't do anything here. Some of the coffee's like, quote unquote stale because it's been there since Friday caught up in the burrs. Pretty good. This one, brighter, had some pickly notes to it, kind of strange. A little bit more coffee in this one. No, a little bit, was there 21.7, 21.4, right? So a little bit less coffee in this one. This one, our final one that we did, 22.5, heavier, thicker, more robust, a little more tangerine. Like there was some tangerine in this. This had more clear tangerine. So just a different way of doing it, right? But all the same coffee, all kind of same standards. And like I said, when it came to actually pulling shots, I'm not paying attention to the time, because if I'm trying to proof it, right? Like let's say I'm in a professional situation, like working in a coffee shop, and I'm like, okay, I can do all the timing of it then before we start, right? Like I can pull the shots and set the grind and be like, okay, 21 grams, pull the shot, let's set the grind, see if we're getting like this extraction rate. Let's say the first time 17. Let's make it a little bit finer, push it into, 17 seconds, make it a little bit finer, and then we get a little more resistance, so it takes longer. Like if you notice the 22.5 versus the 2 in the 21 range, this one pulled slower. You could hear the ramp up of the machine working a little bit harder because there's greater resistance, right? And it took longer for it to appear, for the coffee to emerge, and then the initial stream really long and syrupy because there's so much more extraction happening, right? So you can compensate for, as you can see here, you can compensate for faster extraction by adding more coffee, because it's all about resistance, right? Coffee brewing is all about resistance to the water, especially in espresso, right? You're just trying to resist the water so that as the water pushes through your coffee, it can extract the flavors out of it. If it's too fast, you don't get enough extraction. It's very weak, it's very bright, it's very it's very sour. If it takes too long, too much is being extracted over a longer period of time, so you're getting more bitters, a little bit less than ideal flavors. But the idea is to try to balance the extraction with the resistance to the water. Or we're trying to balance the resistance of the water to get an improved extraction. All right, I hope that helps. If you have questions, let me know. And don't forget to enter the giveaway. You have 2 weeks. Tell your friends, or don't tell your friends, so that you get a better chance of winning. So thank you very much for tuning in. Back again tomorrow with another Coffee Q&A, 10 a.m. Eastern. Hope you have a wonderful day out there. And if you have, like I said, you have questions about coffee, anything, ideas for future videos or future live streams, let me know too, because I'm always looking for new things to talk about. All right, Devin, good to see you. Mom, Dan, Anton, M0, always good to see all of you guys. Maku, Dev, hello to you as well. So until next time, have a wonderful day and see you then.